Define your dream job.
What is my dream job? Honestly, I am so, like, as you mentioned, multifaceted. I like getting up in the morning at a leisurely time, if possible, which hasn't happened in the last 30 years of my life since I've had children and whatnot, or a job. But my ideal job would allow me to wake up at 9 or 10 in the morning, have a slow start to my day, not emails, sort of, and have a good productive 10 to 2, and then be able to do whatever I want to. So
What are you going to do in those hours?
I think it's still like ruminating.
To be determined.
Yeah.
Got it. Dave, what is your dream job?
Airline pilot.
That was my dream job, but I'm kind of doing it now.
I think he's an ocean or a beach raker.
I want a job where I have flexibility. Now for me, I feel like I'm in a dream job moment right now. I have flexibility. I like helping people. I like meeting people. I've really enjoyed seeing people getting those emails after when they found the job, thanking you for even getting them to take the interview. You know, that's one of the things we're always talking about is take the interview, because you never know. A lot of times we are looking at passive candidates, we're looking at people that might not be in the job market yet, and our job's to present them with an opportunity. Hopefully that changes lives. Like I said, some of the emails that we send after candidates are getting jobs, congratulations on the next stop in your career. We're really part of that journey for them, so that's made me happy.
He's always on brand. Carmina, do you find with this role, with what you're doing now, do you find that you're able to get that balance that you're looking for? Are you satisfied?
I think we've all spent a lot of years in careers where we really made a lot of people look good, and that's been our jobs, right? We've been out there doing what we need to do, doing our job well, helping people that we work for look good, and I think now the ability to take some of that control back at this stage in our careers and do it for ourselves means a lot.
No, a lot of times when I think about, like, okay, what would happen if I was a VP or a CEO right now, right? And that would be the takeoff of my list. But at the same token, like, what's the trade-off that I would have to make? And I feel like that's always a trade-off, especially for women in any industry, I think, because we're predominantly doing maternal. I was in charge of all the domestic stuff in my household, regardless of whether or not I was working alone. So you always have to think about what the trade-off is when you are climbing in your corporate career versus how it's going to affect your own personal life, and how involved you are in your children's lives, in your friends' lives, in your family's lives, all of those things.
Yep.
So that's something that you need to think about as far as the dream job is concerned. There might be a dream role that you have. That dream role might not be necessarily your dream role because of what you have to trade in for that dream role.
And I think there's parts in your career too where when you're seeing other jobs come up, you're not looking at them. You're content in what you have. You don't have one eye out on the door, and that's why I think when we bring it back and talk to candidates, we're saying, is the money enough? Is this job what you're looking for? Because we don't want you to have your eye on the door for the next opportunity that's going to come your way.
Yep, it's coming. Back on topic. What does landing your dream job actually mean?
That's happened to me so many times.
Welcome.
You're really happy for the first 3 weeks and then you're not. So like the reality sets in that your dream job actually is a job, first and foremost. You might be really happy with just what year it's going to take, but there's a certain amount of work that you need to overcome in order to get to those end goals. What it's going to take for you to actually succeed in that role is going to be different from what it took you to be in that role.
I think it's kind of what you make it into too. I think that we've all been hired for roles that we've probably made more just based on our ambition, based on our characters that have become bigger than maybe they were initially anticipated. And sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. I'm going to circle back to what I said earlier, that as long as you don't have your eye on the door, I think that accepting the job that you have, I don't know about what a dream job really is. Like, I know the terminology, I'm just not sure. I think it's different for every person. I think I've been hired for jobs and I've made them into my dream job because I've had that flexibility or that opportunity to create a better environment for myself, for the people around me, whatever.
Would you say you're an innovator then? Do you go in and innovate? And
yeah, I think that one of the four quadrants.
I would say that about myself, except for the fact that you have to fight against everybody else.
But that's what
that's a dream role, absolutely.
Yes.
But you have to prepare yourself mentally and
There's-
emotionally, physically for all that fight. So like you're walking into the dream world. Well, think about what you have to do psychologically in order to like win that.
Right there has always been the challenge or the passion or the carrot at the end of the stick kind of thing. That I know what's there, I know what it could be, and making it into that has been where I've got some of my greatest joys in seeing successes in certain parts of my career. So that, to me, wasn't the dream job that I started in, but it became the dream job as I...
So you're a maestro of your own.
I don't know. I don't know what I would call it, but it's just it's creating your own zen. You're creating your own destiny. You know, zen for me was I like being busy. I liked being engaged. I like early mornings. I don't want it forever. I'm glad where I'm at now. What you're saying, I don't mind. I can't wait till I can wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it's certainly something to achieve. I do like the flexibility that our jobs give us. That's just where I'm at in my career.
I would say, and this is just my notes to wrap it up, our jobs are impactful. We get to impact clients every day, and we get to impact candidates every day. So for me, this is a dream job from that perspective. It's very fulfilling, both being able to fill my cup on the side that I get to help my clients and I get to ease their pain and bring in some light in their work world. But then on the candidate side, we're able to help candidates. Hopefully when we're taking jobs to candidates or opportunities to candidates, we're giving them a better opportunity and we're bringing them something different that they haven't had, and they're able to maybe enhance their life or change their work-life balance. So,
and we get to learn about so many businesses that are
amazing.
That's what makes it so interesting to me.
I love
so
that.
much about so many. I've learned about technology that I didn't know about.
Yes, right? Yes, I can do it. But you guys are both the can-doers. You're like, if I said to you, hey, go get me an embedded developer, you're going to be like, what's an embedded developer? Exactly. But you bring them back. But you're resourceful.
Optician versus
structural engineer. Certification.
Make sure the building doesn't fall down.
So, I mean, I think, I don't know where we're going with that, but I think that's what's really fun about our job. Yeah. And I believe in the two of you. Your personalities are very approachable. You're very relatable. People can look at you and I trust you. I feel like she's going to help me on both sides. I feel like, and that's what I said, I'm like, that girl needs to be a recruiter, need to be doing what we're doing.
Yeah, but that's your ability to sell. So
my ability to sell?
You've sold this as a career. No, but to me you did. Listen, when you come into this at first, it's a persistence, it's finding your zone, finding yours within this business, to be able to speak confidently, to be able to recruit properly, to be able to service our clients the way they need to be taken care of. It's all of that. But one thing about this is you truly get out of this job what you
100%. If you recruit day in and day night, you can drive that Maserati. You can.
Well, I was sitting in the car on my phone trying to source for a role that we got 15 or 20 minutes before in an email, because you've got to take that time while you have it.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a persistence in this world.
I think for us too, it's not just a number. I actually care about our clients. I genuinely care about the people that we're placing, and I care about our clients and their well-being of their companies. And
it's finding a balance, because we care about the candidates just as much. So it's when you're getting to know them and you think, wow. Sometimes we work with employers where we think the candidate's really good, the employer might not necessarily agree.
I didn't feel them. They didn't fight.
That's a big part of what we've learned in this business too.
Tangible
is very important, and that's why we have our dream jobs, because we have that connection.
I don't think that. So to that note, this particular role, when yes, you can check off all the boxes, but there's still the intangible of like.
And that's, we've talked about this in other segments, the resume is a very important part, because we're lucky we have some relationship with clients where we can say, you know what, we've done a thorough intake on her, you got to meet her. And that's
the trust factor.
Our instinct that you talk about. You've got to meet her. And on that particular candidate, we heard from a client yesterday that it's going to work out well. So
that I would have said.
But there is that. Even when we're doing our intakes with our clients, we talk about the intangibles. What is it that we don't know that you are looking for that is not going to come up as a skill on our matrix?
How can job seekers identify their strengths and passions?
So many different ways. When you're at work, I would say go look to see what it is that you are naturally inclined to learn or really interested in. So as an example, if you're in hospitality, you're inclined to do, like, or if it's like the things, it is just as important to find what you don't like as it is, and then go find people that actually represent what you want your life to look like, because that's going to be.
I like that. I think self-awareness is a huge thing, especially at senior levels when we start. You need to know what it is you want to get out of your next job. If there's something that's missing, if there's something that you got to figure out your runway. Pardon?
So you don't want to deal with another asshole CEO.
I can't deal with another CEO telling me they don't know what they want.
That's part of it. So, and it's finding what your runway is. Like, you know, knowing in 3 to 5 years I want to be here, and being able to answer that question, not so much as an entitlement, but as a career goal.
What if someone doesn't know what they want to do? Where should they start? Can I make my interjection? Do not call a recruiter and tell us that you don't know what to do. I would say that's the first thing, because a lot of people reach out to us saying that I don't know what to do. I know I want to change. What do I do?
So what you would call instead is a
Career coach. Yes.
Yep. So go find a CDP and figure out, do a bunch of assessments, see what you're good at, see what you're interested in. I would encourage going out into the field and doing trial shifts in multiple places.
Or you just might not be ready to be in the market right now. I mean, you might just be good in the job you're at, and sometimes even when we're talking to candidates, you're good right now. I've talked to candidates for some senior level jobs where, hey, your money's good right now. There are parts of your job, if money's important, you're in a good spot right now based on what the market's paying. So it just might not be the right time to be looking for a job, and that's okay too.
When you go break into that field of study, just remember that you are.
But this is the new generation mindset, right? They feel like they should have, and whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying it's not, they feel they should have that 7-layer cake right away. They don't feel like they need to work for it, and I'm bored, so I should be a marine biologist. Oh no.
Because our generation never talked about money. So like a lot of, I found when I was bringing people on board, I remember when I was bringing on entry, my first job as a career. This is your first full-time job.
So that almost promise that next job when they're not. You know, we're hiring for you this week. We're hiring for you. We're hiring you for this job now. So yes, there is a regional position down the road or whatever, and it does come with perks. When they hear that, 6 months, a year from now, they're already starting to I'm ready for the next. And that's not necessarily, it's a balance. It's just, it's setting that expectation through the process.
I think on both ends, there's something about work to the younger generation in particular, in that...
In the home first.
In the home first,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. This is one of the things that I made my eldest child work in.
Good.
Because as an oyster shucker.
I love it.
Because I wanted them to know how hard work, and that is a thing. Sometimes work is hard and you're not going to enjoy it at all, and you're just doing it for the money. You need to learn that.
And the value.
Say, oh, I'm going to give you a raise. You have to ask for everything. I have in my careers. If I know I'm asking for that next step.
To be the devil's advocate, in this generation, they don't talk about that. They just think that you go into a role and that's what you do.
Absolutely. Because they see somebody else in that role. 100%. I'm saying we learn to work and fight for.
But there's no respect to the institution anymore. To the work institution, I don't find that the young new workforce respect the boundaries of going in and understanding the basic concepts of working. If that makes sense.
Some of them working in a corporate environment versus, but I will also challenge that. I commend some like that they ask for what they think they're worth right now. Because I would have never walked into my GM. When I started doing a GM, I was making like 60 grand.
Yeah, I was going to say 60 or 65.
So they're coming in and they're like, no, I want to make 80 grand with tips and bonus extra on top of that. So
and are they wrong?
They're not wrong right now. They aren't, because that's what the market's paying.
That is what the market's paying.
So I enjoy that because they actually, like their vision of work-life balance, I wish I had learned that younger. If I had that younger, I think there was a lot of heartbreak that I wouldn't have gone through because it wasn't worth it.
But it built you to who you are. Because
there's a lot of things that build me to who I am.
But that's part of it. You understand what that weeded grind is, and you understand what balancing and managing your family and life and working 60, 70 hours a week.
Absolutely, but at 46, I can look back now and say I would not do that again.
I wouldn't do it again either.
There are things that I would do in my career roles. There are hours, I'm working for a company, we won't name names right now, that you would work 70 to 80 hours regardless of. I worked in fine dining also, and let me tell you, my fine dining hours were fan-freaking-tastic.
Really?
Yes.
But it was all nights.
5 days a week.
5 days a
With,
week,
like, yeah,
nights,
But you know
5
what
to
those
12.
hours are. So, like, with
Different,
any kind of
different.
job,
Yeah,
right,
you
know what the hours are.
pick. You're
pick.
choosing what you're going into.
The other 5 to 12 at night, great. I'm missing